Hey everybody, this is like a weird little bonus episode
Yes.
where we're just gonna have fun. It's 11:40 at night,
Why are you explaining this?
and we're just gonna talk about something that we always end up talking about whenever we hang out together, whether it be at NAMM or other events or something like that. We're just gonna talk Trek.
Talking Trek.
We're just talking Trek.
You made this sound so forced. We're just gonna record this thing that we do,
We just do it.
and like so.
We
I
don't even
know.
have like a jumping off point or anything that we want to
It's
discuss.
natural.
I
It's
just-
free flowing.
I just figured like
we had
maybe
to
we
fight
would
it
talk
off
about
while
this.
recording 2 other episodes to keep
That
us
is true.
from talking
That is
Trek
correct.
during those episodes.
That is correct.
So now we can
So
talk
where are we
about
starting
Trek.
with this? Where do we want to start with this?
I've got faith of the heart.
Fuck that song to death. I hate that song so much.
Mike was telling us about how much he hates the theme to Enterprise.
I hate it. So I just finished my first DS9 go through of the year.
Of the year?
Yeah. No, I try and watch everything twice.
In a year?
Yeah.
Everything?
Yep.
Man,
I love it. I love
Including
it.
Enterprise.
No. So I should clarify. This is my first time ever going through Enterprise. I've actually never made it past the second episode mostly because of that song.
But now on Netflix, you can just skip intro.
Yeah, but see, the problem is that I'm on an Xbox. The episode starts with the little teaser and then goes into the theme song. And so if I let multiple
gotta get a
episodes
Roku.
play, like I gotta turn my controller on. It's a whole thing. Sometimes
get
I
a
miss
Roku,
the skip
man.
intro button because I'm not quick enough, and then
No,
Netflix
even
is
when
like,
it
"No, you were too late. You don't get to skip this."
Even after it disappears, you can bring it back. I did it this morning in the middle of the Voyager intro. I was like, "What happens if I bring the time bar back up?" And I brought it back up, and skip intro is
Oh,
right
you can
there.
go back. Oh,
Yeah. Well, at least on
So
TV.
well.
I pirate Discovery.
Oh, I see. I haven't really seen much.
And so
Same.
my wife always wants me to skip the
I wanna.
intro. And it's like, because it's me playing a file off of my computer through the Roku, I have to like have skill with the remote to fast forward through the intro.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like know how long it lasts and then stop it right at the right point. And I usually get within like 4 seconds of the end of the
So
intro.
does it not do like preview frames when you're fast forwarding?
It does, but it's real choppy.
Okay, because like before they had the skip intro feature for Netflix on my TV, like the
Oh yeah, jumping
the
around
software
in
wasn't there,
Netflix
so
is
I just
impossible.
was doing no, because the intro frames were always the same frame, so I always
Yeah.
just went straight to the wormhole, and
Did
that
you
was
go
the end of it.
straight to the heart?
No,
That's part of it. That's a line from the theme.
from the
That I hate.
Enterprise.
So
Yeah, that I
I've
hate.
watched all of Enterprise.
Really?
But I did it all after my first kid was born, and I was staying up until like 3 or 4 in the morning with him.
Yep.
Because I would hold him and he would sleep in my arms, and my wife would get to like log a couple hours of sleep, and then she would get to hold him, and then I'd log a couple hours of sleep, that sort of thing. So my memory of the whole show is a little foggy because I'd be like sitting on the couch holding an infant, and all of a sudden I'd like come to and be like, "Whoa, there's a time travel storyline? What's going
Yeah.
on?" And then like I'm like kind of like fading out again.
Yeah. But like aside from that abysmal schmaltzy stupid song,
There's
which I
some
just
fun stuff.
want to say like the song blows. It's terrible. It's like this weird TGIF sort of like
Oh, we're still
Family
talking about the
Matters
song.
intro.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. But yeah, and the song, it's also weird that they chose a song about having faith for a show that's about science. I'm a little upset about that. No, but aside from the song, well, now I lost my train of thought.
It's
What was
not-
I gonna-
that show's
It's
not-
actually not bad.
That
it's
show's
not bad
not
at all.
about science. It's about taking sonic showers, like co-ed sonic
No,
showers.
if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, Enterprise is really about rubbing gel on each other in your underwear.
It's like glitter gel or something, right?
I could use a supercut
What?
of just that. YouTube, if you can provide for me a
It's
supercut
gotta
of
exist.
gel rubbing.
I have no idea what you're talking about. This
I found my thing.
So like, it's
Sorry.
actually like an interesting storyline in Enterprise.
Yeah.
And that like they don't have the technology to like decontaminate people when they come off of planets, and that's all in the future. You know, like when everyone beams on board in TNG or even the original series, it's like, oh, there's filters in the beamer that take out impurities and take out bacteria and stuff like that. You don't have to worry about that anymore. In Enterprise, they get back on the ship from being on an alien world, and they're like, okay, you are quarantined for 48 hours.
For a 45-minute rubbing of gel session. Also, Archer's like super cavalier about just going down to planets. It's like they don't even scan like, oh, is it breathable? No, we'll find out when we get there.
Check it out. Let's just go poke around and like take our helmets off slowly.
So is Enterprise is it pre-Discovery?
It's a oh geez.
It's pre-Discovery, right? Because Discovery is
it's way pre-Discovery.
Yeah, it's before the Federation is a thing. It's
because
an
Discovery.
NX class
In fact, I feel like I saw something recently that like
no, Enterprise is immediately after First Contact, basically.
It's 100 years after First Contact.
Well, it's like technologically like Vulcans are still running everything, and they're barely on like a kitty leash with the Vulcans. The Vulcans are like, go ahead, like try. Go ahead.
God, the Vulcans are so shitty about everything.
They are.
Oh, we don't believe that you're ready for being a part of the interspace community.
Go ahead and try and have do your space stuff. But
hey, Vulcans, try being less judgy, you dicks.
We're gonna keep our eye on you, and that's the whole reason.
Live long and fuck off.
That's the whole reason there's a Vulcan on this ship is to like babysit them.
Yeah. And she's sending reports back, and the whole time she it's like Archer does something and she goes,
yeah.
It's the worst. I pulled my glasses down and made like a librarian face.
Man.
But then also
now I feel like I really need to watch this.
It's not bad. It's really not bad.
It has some fun elements.
6 more seasons of Voyager to get through.
Voyager's great. Voyager has, I think, disproportionately its amount of not so great episodes, but the good ones are really good. Like Year of Hell. Oh my God, amazing two-parter.
I'm pretty sure I'm not that far
Workforce,
yet.
the penultimate two-parter of the entire series. Workforce is one of my favorite episodes ever. Love it. After 7 of 9 gets introduced, there's a lot of like interesting like identity crises.
Right.
7 of 9 was an interesting character because it's like when they introduce her, you're like, oh come on, like this is just
please, a Borg on my Federation vessel.
It's just
kosher.
I mean, it's literally like it's just like TNA bait. Like you see her in a commercial and you know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get like the dads to watch.
No, I was
Hey dads, you know what you'll like? Skin tight catsuits.
I bet you probably heard that Star Trek Voyager is just for the ladies, but check this out.
Federation girls are boring.
But they introduce like some fun character. She's like a really well hashed out character. Yeah, and there's some fun storylines that come from her being on the show.
I was actually reading something the other day where they said that like in general 7 of 9's camera angles are all like soap opera camera angles.
Yep. Yeah,
like,
they do that.
Everyone else gets like the standard like headshot, and she's got some like weird like contorted body angle like
the camera's always shot right about here for some reason, and I'm not sure. And it pans back to B'Elanna, and it's right on her face, and she's expositing and giving us technobabble. And then back at 7 of 9, the camera is just right again, right here. The hell? But Jerry Ryan is a beautiful woman, but also a fantastic actor,
wonderful
activist, and I respect the hell out of her. But those camera angles...
Well, it's so weird because like that's especially by that point, but like throughout like the entire Star Trek series, like the number of women who have like been on the program, and we're like, this specific so I think Denise Crosby has said that she left the show specifically because of Rick Berman, or at least that like he played a huge role on her being like,
also, those 14-hour days of standing.
Oh, is that a thing?
That was a thing because she was at the
because she's at the
tactical station.
Yeah.
So she was back there all the time, and because she's directly behind Patrick Stewart, she had to be in every shot.
Oh my gosh.
And so I remember in an interview she said she asked if they could get a mannequin, like just the bottom half of a mannequin, so that she could sit, but she never could. And
man,
and so
that's crazy.
It's good to have a chair.
It's good to have a chair.
Wesley had it figured out.
Well, I also was reading about
Shut up.
in Deep Space Nine, some quotes from Terry Farrell.
Yeah.
Who just had like horrible things to say about like some of the people, like the producers on that show, that basically would come on set and be like, "Oh yeah, that was a great scene, but it would be better if you got a boob job."
Oh,
you know they did that. Same
they said
thing.
that to Wesley.
No, to what?
I mean, it would. It's true. Will. It's true.
I think you'll find actor.
His mom's a doctor. She can do it. It's future technology. Probably takes half a minute to do a boob job.
They just transport him right in.
I'd
transport the boob job right in.
This non-surgical says
while he's asleep. Yeah, nobody ever goofed off with the transporters all that much. You would think Geordi, with all the bullshit he gets into, that he would be all about.
My thing about Geordi is the reason they gave him a visor is to like hide the eye rolling that he does just 24 hours a day. Every single thing, Geordi is just like,
Captain, the inertial dampers are out.
God.
Geordi's lovely.
Does Geordi actually have
I feel like Geordi represents
a
me.
non-robot friend on that show?
Probably not really.
I say immediately after Ryan says, Geordi represents me.
You're my robot friend, Steve.
And you have no other friends.
No, I relate to Geordi. I feel like Geordi's my guy.
I love Geordi.
He was my favorite character as a kid for sure. He becomes, I think, the woker you are, the more problematic he becomes.
Yeah, rewatching it in recent years has been a chore in some ways because they make him so weirdly inept with women that when he finally falls for somebody, it's a holographic recreation of Leah Brahms, the designer of the Enterprise engines. And it's like, that's the weirdest episode ever.
He wants to bone the Enterprise. He loves it so much.
I mean, that's the only sensible explanation. But have you ever done that? Like, I don't know if did you go to like your 10 or are you planning on going to like your 20-year high school reunion? Yeah, I guess.
Oh, fuck no.
Okay, so I went to my 10.
No, am I cool enough that I can go and be like, hey, I did it. I made a life.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what your high school
is. I was homeschooled.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. If I run into Amber, I'm toast. So Amber was a popular girl in high school who was never nice to me and made fun of me and all that. I saw her at a bowling alley in like 2005.
Working there?
No. Well, I was working there, or she was neither. But she asked what I was doing, and I was insecure enough to be like, "Oh shit, I'm not doing anything." And so I lied, and I told her that I'm an
astronaut.
No, I said I had inadvertently made a killing on the stock market. I bought some company, and I was like, "Yeah," and I cashed out, and so I'm just living life. And I left her with the impression that I was very well-to-do, which was not. And is not accurate at all. And so, yeah, if I see Amber again, I can't go.
Oh, I put all that money back in the stock market and it's all gone now.
I have to pretend to have completely spent my fortune. I don't know. So, yeah, I'm not going. I think is the moral of that story. I'm not going.
So where I was going with that is, if you
find out that she's in the same place because she followed your hot stock tip.
Yeah. But where I was going with this is in the context.
You ruined someone's life.
I'm going to recommend that you buy Hobby Lobby stock right now. Kmart is only going up.
Yeah, right. Okay, so where I was trying to go with this is you have these people
Saturn vehicles.
You are
sure thing gonna be around for 100 years.
Who you're only like Facebook friends with or whatever that you went to school with.
No, I'm not Facebook friends with.
Well, okay, so
just one.
So in theory, right? And so you go. So this is Geordi. Like there are things that you figure out about people because you like are internet friends with them, and when you face to face with them, like there are just certain topics where you're like, they posted this thing, but maybe it's a thing that was meant more for their immediate friends and family and not some rando person. Geordi is like, oh yeah, I remember when you were telling me that one thing, because he can't separate physical Leah Brahms from his computer generated Leah Brahms.
That episode is gross. So Geordi.
Let me take you to my favorite place on the holodeck that I took holodeck you.
So when Leah Brahms is coming to the Enterprise for a visit, Geordi gets really excited and he starts telling Guinan like, "Oh, I can't wait to hang out with her. I feel like I know her already." And Guinan is not having any of it. She's like, "This ain't gonna work."
She's kind of the only sane person on the ship, right?
I love her. I wish they had more Whoopi in that show. But
well, if you're a Riker, you have lots of Whoopi.
Also, another weird, problematic character. So Geordi's excited that Leah Brahms is coming on the ship, and he's excited because he knows her, because the ship, the holodeck made a facsimile of her in a prior episode, and he fell in love with this holographic version of her that's built as an amalgam of all of her like collected works and speeches, and so he has this great doting
it's
personality.
Literally like you watched Elon Musk's TED Talk,
and you thought, we'd be best friends,
and you follow his Twitter feed, and when you meet him, you're like, "Sup, bro? Let's smoke some weed."
Yeah, only he doesn't want to because he doesn't know you, and much the same happens. And so Leah Brahms figures out pretty quick that Geordi's been creeping on her in a real gross way.
It's pretty gross.
Like she comes on the ship and immediately he's like, "Just wait till you have my fungili," and she's like, "That's my favorite dish." And how did you know that? He goes, "Oh, it was in your personnel file. It says that your favorite food is this."
That's what your simulation said that I hang out with all the time when no one's watching.
That's exactly it. Like, why don't you be like, "Oh yeah, like,
hey, funny story, probably not a big deal."
I mean,
I've been hanging out with you, but not you. Anyway, so she
they're
finds
in a pretty
out
progressive future. You think he could just come out and be like, "Oh, by the way, like I hang out with your simulation all the time."
You think he would just come clean, but he knows that it's wrong, and so he doesn't.
It can't be the first time people have hung out with simulations.
Right.
Well, and it really would
Barclay only hangs out with simulations.
It would be so simple too for him to just be like, "Look, we had a problem with the ship, so I had the ship go through like all of your public records, and like I figured that was the easiest way for me to diagnose this warp core problem."
So he says essentially that, but in this like impassioned men's rights speech in the middle of the episode, when she finds out
21st century Geordi is a red pillar.
Fake Leah Brahms comes on and is like, "Oh, Geordi, let me rub your back," and Leah's like, "The hell is this?" And he goes, "I was nice to you," as if that means anything. My favorite thing about this whole scenario that we're talking about is in the finale of the series and All Good Things. Geordi goes to visit Picard on his winery.
Right.
And he's tying up vines. And there's this line that Picard gives. "How's Leah?" Ooh. Because they've gotten married. And they're together now.
I don't know if I ever put that all together.
It's amazing. It's amazing and it's beautiful.
But a lot of times when like people,
you don't think it's just some rando person also happened?
He marries someone named Leah because he's just so hung up on her. No, like a lot of times when people,
maybe it's like his cat.
When people meet,
she's a good kitty.
A lot of times when people meet, like it is awkward and it's not ideal. And then,
absolutely.
And later on, it becomes a thing like the way you acted when we met.
Let's put it in the context of our current ennui, our social media lives, where like people will creep on each other on Facebook and and like
you almost expect it.
Like, and this is an example that I'm okay with because I freely put it out there, but like people come up to me and they're like, "How's Vinny, your dog?" And I love that because I think Vinny is adorable and he's a great dog and I love him. But like, if I'm going to put something out there and somebody asks me about it, I can't be mad about it. But if someone like finds me on Facebook and they friend me and then they start going through like, "Oh, so I see that you like to do this in your spare time." Like, that's a little weird.
Yeah, a little bit.
And it's a thing. So like,
well, it's also like now you take it like you take that to that next favorite level. Recipe. It's almost like Geordi becomes like the misery almost scenario where it's like it's one thing to be like, "Oh yeah, like hey, how's your dog? Whatever. Like we're friends on Facebook." It's another thing to be like, "Oh yeah, so I saw that like you play a Sunburst Jazzmaster, so I got a Sunburst Jazzmaster."
It's another thing for me to see someone and see them and go like, oh, we'd be best friends, and then go through like, oh, so you went to this high school, huh? How'd you find that out? I've never talked about that ever.
Right.
Oh, I found someone that knows
I've been
you.
trying to keep people from finding that out.
Yeah. So it's a little unfair the way they do that to Geordi. Although, like, it's good, thought-provoking stuff. It really calls out that kind of mindset.
Does Data get laid more on the Next Generation than Geordi does?
Geordi does not. Geordi does not.
So
get
the
laid.
answer is yes.
Yeah. Data lays pipe a lot.
Isn't it only like?
Is
it more than once?
So many times. I mean, Tasha Yar and what's her name? The woman he has a relationship with in the middle of the series.
That's just with women. Like every time Data is plugging in like a chip into a computer, that might be something that we don't fully understand.
Well, I'll tell you. I don't remember the episode title offhand. But yeah, Data tries to have a relationship, and there's this weird ass fight scene in the middle where Data's like, I assume that she wants to fight, and that will make us stronger.
Now I remember this episode, but I don't remember that much about it. We were talking about this earlier, and as you looked it up,
this whole discussion has just turned into like dating advice from Star Trek.
I know. So we were talking about favorite and least favorite Star Trek episodes.
In theory, is the episode where Data.
What's the woman's
has a
name?
relationship. Desora.
Yeah,
Lieutenant? I forget. What is she?
So can we talk about Riker for a second?
Jenna Desora.
You mentioned Riker being problematic.
Yeah.
And you mentioned like the only time Geordi falls in love, Riker is presented as a player like full time every season. Like he's always like going down to the pleasure planet and hanging out with all kinds of women and stuff
That guy loves Risa like I love cake.
But the only time, and we're expected to just accept it and believe it. The only time Riker sincerely falls in love, is not even a multi-episode arc. It's one episode he falls so deeply in love, and it's with like a hermaphrodite turtle person. And that's like the moment that they take to be like, Riker's in love. He's fallen completely in love. This is real love, not like all those other like girls on all these other planets and stuff like that. He found a turtle person. Yes. She's comes from a population that's like monogendered or something.
Yeah, it's a mono.
And he's in love.
So the outcast.
He's in love. Like this is real love, and then it never goes back to her ever again. You know.
Yeah, she's excommunicated.
I guess the other question is Riker actually problematic?
I think through as I grow older, like Riker was one of my favorite characters when I was a kid, and like. Yes, I'm going to say yes. That there's something. I think Star Trek is wonderfully progressive and envisions a future where humanity has overcome a lot of its problems.
And then Profit and Lace happens in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, but it's also a show that started in the 1980s. And
right.
It's also So in some ways, it talks out of both sides of its mouth.
Well, I just mean like you don't like Riker isn't. I mean, is he manipulative? I'm trying to think like besides there's 174 episodes or something of The Next Generation, and Riker somehow has more than 174 partners. And
my memory of it is just that he's like always got the flirt on, like he's always ready, just like eyebrows up, let's go.
So the interesting.
I mean, I try that too. It does not pan out the same way.
But
you're not a Starfleet officer.
Rewatching the series, there is there's a status or power imbalance. Like Riker is frequently like coming on to ensigns and lieutenants, people who are below him on the rung, and that's a little
literally and figuratively.
But
he's the second in command on a ship. It's
right.
He's not going to flirt with Picard. He can't.
I mean, why not?
I would.
But
I would. Yeah.
But also, I mean, there is that. I guess that is a fair point, Ryan. That the only people Riker can really flirt with then would be Dr. Crusher, and Troy. I know she becomes a commander later.
So fraught,
and Troy was kind of a houseplant. Like they didn't give her a lot.
I think Troy and Worf always should have ended up together, and I'm so mad that they undid that with the movies.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, Troy and Riker get hitched.
Oh, yeah.
Lame.
Worf appreciated her in a way that Riker never did.
who needs a therapist more than?
Well, they
Worf?
had to undo They had to undo Worf and Troy so they could put Worf on Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, and then go get married to Jadzia, and then she dies, which is awesome. Great.
I could never get.
You are not Jadzia. Stupid.
I could never get into Deep Space Nine. It was too.
I
like,
didn't
dark
until I
for
matured.
me. And I didn't. Oh, okay. You're all right. Oh,
I never liked
matured is what you're saying.
I never liked that they didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's like
but that's not my complaint anymore.
So how far have you watched all of Deep Space Nine?
like when I like this. It sounds like a side tangent, but when I watch X-Files, I like the creature episodes.
Oh, I love those.
That's my same mentality towards Star Trek. I want the creature episodes. I want the sci-fi on a different planet, like exploration of an idea.
So you're not crazy about like season-long character arcs?
No,
I think
care
Deep Space
about that.
Nine had some really good arcs.
Amazing arcs.
I think the
Well, yeah, the whole ship is kind of like
shut up.
it was a space station.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I do think when they're not going anywhere, like the first couple, like even it seems like all of the Treks, the first couple seasons are a slog. Deep Space Nine is particularly bad when they're trying to like establish the station as a thing. I think once they get the Defiant, it starts to pick up because they
That's
can
why
go
they
places.
gave them the Defiant.
And then once the Dominion War goes into full swing, like I think that's when the show really like finds itself, because I think the Dominion War is like it's what the Next Generation movies were kind of doing, but in a long form TV show.
And the Dominion War was such a great backdrop to talk about like the never-ending cycle of war in the world at the time and today. And it also was not afraid of jostling, wrestling with the casualties of war, the soldiers who come back and are scarred for life, like Nog, who...
So that's the series I want.
Yeah, so Nog very, very seriously deals with PTSD and the loss of a limb.
Yeah, that's the series I want, and I've been told that it basically can't happen. The way, I don't know if this is accurate. I don't know if you've heard anything or heard something differently, but from what I understand, basically CBS owns Star Trek, Voyager, and everything before Voyager, and Paramount owns all films and anything
in the post
Voyager, and which is I think is unfortunate, because the TV show that I want, which now in our post Sopranos, post all kind of the dark edgy thing, is the show 30 years post Deep Space Nine. Captain Nog with the robot leg.
Oh my gosh.
Where like half of the episodes are just him flying off the rails because of leg-related nightmares.
He's got phantom pains.
Yep, he's got phantom pains. He's got severe PTSD.
I literally don't care about any prequel ever. I just don't need them. I don't really care so much about establishing where everything came from. I just like.
There's a couple different elements. I know Discovery really works to establish Section 31, but I thought Section 31 in Deep Space Nine was really dumb.
Yeah, they didn't really use that often in a very capable manner.
And the thing is I really liked I liked the choice of the Grim Reaper as the guy for Section 31. I don't remember his acting name, his real name.
Yeah, but the Grim Reaper from Bogus Journey, he's great.
But I guess Section 31 is kind of referenced in Star Trek Into Darkness, maybe-ish.
Yeah.
And then it's in Section 31 is in Discovery, and I think they're saying that they're doing another spin-off
Picard
not the Picard one. They're doing a Discovery spin-off.
Oh, really?
With Michelle Yeoh is getting her own show.
Oh, really?
And I've heard rumors, and maybe this doesn't make sense because again I haven't seen Discovery, that show is going to be like potentially very heavy Section 31 stuff. And so I don't know, but Section 31 is like not that interesting to me. The Mirror Universe was was a lot of fun in the original series. I can do without it. I thought,
yeah, they did that in DS9.
I thought in DS9 I was just like, this is a, and then when it becomes, oh yeah, we figured out how to jump back and forth between the mirror universe, and we just have to come to a gentleman's agreement that we just won't abuse it. A gentleman's
agreement.
It's just like, okay, but like, no, can we not do this? Yeah. And all of a sudden, you know, Smiley shows up and he's like, you got to come back with me, man. It's Back to the Future 2. It's about your kids.
Marty!
It's about your kids in the mirror universe.
But Doc, do we become assholes?
This is why I don't like the big storyline character arc stories, because it's like you lock into them and then you have to like keep going with it. And I'd just much rather like a show that explores, you know, like various ideas through like a science fiction backdrop and can reset, and you don't have to look at the same stupid like aliens with a single like dreadlock hair that are like in every episode of
and
DS9.
Conspicuously cut out eye holes.
Yeah, yeah.
When I'm trying to figure out
like,
which,
I think
which
that's
species we're talking
like
about
bums
here.
me out with like with DS9 and a few other versions of Star Trek is like when you see the same alien over and over and over again, and it's like a lazy costume design, and you just get tired of seeing. I don't like watching DS9. I was like, I don't really want to see a Bajoran or Cardassian ever again.
That's one thing.
They're
that's
called
one of
spoonheads, Ryan.
That's one of many things that the Orville is doing so right now. The Orville's killing it.
I'm loving
love
second
that
season of Orville. I felt like first season was like bad Trek plus fart jokes with a
couple. Oh, what, really? I loved it.
I thought there were a couple standout episodes, but then a lot of it was just like, really, are we doing this? Okay.
Man, I love the way that show is wrestling with topics that are controversial.
Second season has been great. Like really good. I mean, there was an episode where someone's like addicted to pornography.
But I love that episode.
I'm saying it was fantastic. Like they're doing like a really sincere like Trek storytelling sort of thing, and they're doing like mid to good Trek with more subdued humor.
Yeah,
they even did like a version of the Geordi thing.
Yep.
Did you like that episode? Like
where all about that.
The guy, like they open up a time capsule and he downloads all the information off this phone, and he constructs a simulation of this girl's personality off of her like social media posts.
That's the only drawback I have so far with the Orville, is that I'm able to call out what's going to happen in episodes because I've watched Star Trek so much. Like I saw him with the phone, and I turned to my wife. I was like, he's gonna make a damn holodeck. He's gonna go Geordi LaForge on this woman.
But also, like,
and he did.
I mean, that episode is pretty subdued, and there's not a ton going on. It takes place in like a bar somewhere. Yeah. But the episodes before that was like space battle episodes that you wish you could have seen in Next Generation. Yeah. Like hundreds of ships firing at each other and breaking apart.
You're forgetting about the Battle of Wolf 359.
The one battle in Star Trek The Next Generation.
One battle in TNG. or the whole Dominion War. That whole last episode has hundreds of ships.
Yeah.
On screen the whole time. I think you're downplaying the magic of I don't think Ryan, visuals.
Did you get that far, Ryan?
There's a lot more ship action in Orville than there is.
All about that ship action.
In a lot of Trek.
Yeah.
Like just even like showing the ship maneuvering and like zipping around and fighting other ships and stuff.
I even sort of I really dig actually. It
sounds like you kind of just want to watch Star Wars.
Nah.
It's
no, I love Star Wars. I genuinely love, but they're clearly different things.
Completely different.
Very different.
I mean, they're completely enjoyable in their own ways.
Yeah. I want to go back to, is Riker problematic? Because I've been thinking a lot about the episode A Matter of Perspective. I think it's in this third season.
Which episode?
So in A Matter of Perspective, Riker beams back to the Enterprise just as a space station explodes. And almost immediately he's accused.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, he's accused of being the reason the space station explodes, that he sabotaged it. And he's accused by the wife. He was trying to bone it. Exactly. He's accused by the wife of the scientist who was killed when the space station exploded. And there's a trial. And in the trial, there's recreations of Riker's perspective and the woman's perspective. Right. And in the woman's, which we see first, in the woman's recreation of the events that took place on the station, Riker is this overbearing, overtly sexual guy who's always coming on to her and trying to force her into a sexual situation. And when I was a kid and I saw this episode, at the end of the episode when Riker gets off scot-free, I was like, yeah, my buddy's safe. But watching it now, I watch her recreation of events and I go, that woman's not lying. That's probably what it felt like for her. Because when you see Riker's version of events, he is the perfect gentleman and like, I'm in Starfleet. I will report everything. And he's just, he's a Boy Scout. He does nothing wrong. Her version, I mean, especially through the lens of the Me Too era, her version seems
even if like
so believable.
The truth in this fictional story was between
absolutely
like, the two truths, it still doesn't look good for Riker.
And I mean, like, he didn't blow up the station. That was a reflection of a beam. But I mean,
if you blend any of her story into his story to equal it out, then it's like, if he's anything less than this perfect Boy Scout, it's like, okay, Riker, we know what you were up to.
He overcompensates like crazy in that episode.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love that it gives us that because now I can see it in a completely different light.
A few years ago, my wife and I completely rewatched TNG. Mm-hmm. And there was one episode that stuck out to me. It's like, this is really crazy and this is really different, and I wish there was more Trek like this. It's the one where they all devolve into animals.
Oh, jeez.
I hate that episode.
You hate that one? I love that one. I think it's so much fun.
I think
so weird.
So
how, like, Barclay turns into like a spider or something,
and Worf is screaming around trying to get to Troy's blood.
Yeah. Oh, what did Picard turn into? Like some sort
of
little monkey thing?
Yeah.
I think that's buck wild.
That's the episode where Riker's stunt double is dressed in a Cro-Magnon mask.
Probably.
Yeah, that's so good.
Probably.
Somebody turns into an iguana.
Wait, are you thinking of Voyager?
No, because I haven't gotten that far.
Salamanders.
Did Data save them all? Because he's the only one who doesn't
I've heard
evolve?
about that one.
It's fucking Spot. It's
you're
Spot.
right. The cat turns into
because cats and lizards are exactly the same.
One thing, since you mentioned Voyager, I haven't gotten to the part where I hate Neelix yet, and people keep telling me that I will hate him.
I love him.
Neelix is awesome.
Through the first season, I'm like, he's the best character.
He's the
I feel
most
like
sane person.
No, I feel like Neelix is the stand-in for the viewer.
Yeah,
exactly.
But in a way that's like
fish out of water.
That's not Wesley. Because
Wesley's not the stand-in for anyone.
You don't think Wesley was supposed to be the stand-in on TNG?
No.
The only time that I felt like I could relate to Wesley perfectly was
all
when
of those sweaters.
When he found out he was a Time Lord.
Was when he got in with Robin Leffler, Ensign Ashley Judd.
Oh, right.
It was all about that when I was
That's the game. The game is probably in my top 5 TNG episodes.
That's a pretty good episode.
I just remembered
the episode.
I just remembered Wesley's adventures on the side boob planet.
Oh, from like episode 4 or whatever that was.
When we were rewatching the series, I was like, when did this air? This was okay in like 89.
That's nuts, right?
Yeah. There's a lot.
Yeah, there were a lot of nuts.
There was almost like a side nut in that episode.
Geez, sorry. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to crash into your plants.
I'm always super clumsy and breaking stuff.
There's the fumbling.
We just run everywhere.
Watched him land and like, let's pretend we've got like a super strict death penalty.
Amazing.
Like,
it's amazing.
Kid is not all right.
Well, sorry about your plants. What? You gotta be killed.
You're dead now, kid.
Too bad, kid.
You're dead to us.
You're literally dead.
So you're talking about the de-evolving episode. The episode I think that I'm trying to think of the creepiest TNG episode, and at least as a kid, so it's at least some nostalgia factor is Masks.
Which one is Masks?
It's the one where like they scan this like alien archive while Data is like hooked up to the computer. So it like Data starts.
Brent Spiner acts the shit out of that episode.
It's where Data is taking on the personalities of like all of these different parts of like the alien culture.
Yeah.
And so he's like a high priest, or he's like one of their gods, and then a different god, and then he's some old man by a fire. And the ship is like transforming into a temple.
An Aztec temple.
Sounds like Cloud Atlas.
It's so good.
That episode was like,
Ehat.
oh man, so creepy.
I like the one.
Masaka here.
I like the one where Geordi turned into like the 3-fingered alien. Like,
actually, I kind of like that episode.
and it's all like
and his
like
veins
veiny and like black lighty. Like
That's
I like
pretty cool.
I like the creature ones. Like I watched that one as a kid and I was like, oh yeah, cool.
You know, we're talking about all our favorite episodes, and we haven't even talked about the shirt, Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra,
and Jalad,
1991.
It's fucking great. That's a great episode. Classic.
It is
classic.
But that's like a classic like sci-fi story, like. Like meeting and having to work with like an alien you don't understand that was your enemy. Wasn't there like a whole movie about that, like Enemy Mine or something?
There
like that?
There was a movie called Enemy Mine.
Is that what it's about?
And it's
like,
about like a guy. Yeah, it's a guy meeting an alien or whatever.
And they have to work together because they're stranded.
Yeah.
Who ripped who off? Did Star Trek rip that off?
No, that movie's from the early. I think it's like Pete Kurt Russell or something.
I don't know this movie.
But that doesn't mean anything.
It's early 80s.
Okay, so
it's like,
it was first.
It's like Flight of the Navigator. Or like
Love
that
that
era.
I got to get you in my group. I've got a group right now that's dedicated to Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, I saw that popping up. I want to join.
I can't get you in it because it's limited to 100 people.
No,
because,
I love that movie.
Because once your group is bigger than 100 people, you can't just willy-nilly change the name of the group.
It's the first time I heard the Beach Boys was that movie.
Really?
Round,
okay,
round,
I have a
get
question.
Around, I get around.
You remember when they fly down? And
Ryan, this is a Star Trek podcast.
It's sci-fi. We were talking about the Orville. They fly down. They open up the liquid door, and there's all the kids in the convertible listening to New Wave, and Paul Rubens is like, no, those were geeks. Like when I was a kid, I took that scene to mean like, oh, they're geeks because they didn't answer like their query for directions or something like that. But I rewatched it like a week ago. I'm like, I think they're calling them geeks because they're new wave kids.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think geek has meant a couple different things throughout history. So
Well, yeah.
This stood in for punks.
You're not going to be on the mic if you're sitting that back.
Well, it's because I don't want to be fact checked. I love that movie.
But
I love that movie so much.
I didn't even think like
coffee service.
It was
coming
like
through.
a
please watch your step.
Genre specific like dig on a scene.
We have new Coke, classic Coke, cherry Coke, caffeine free Coke, diet Coke, and I don't remember the last one. Girl with the purple hair.
Yeah.
Oh God.
See, I always took that as because I'm trying to remember who Paul Rubens was in that.
He was the ship.
He was the
He's
ship.
a ship,
He was
right?
Max.
Yeah. So I always took that as just. I mean, maybe it was supposed to be a dig, but I always took that as like.
But is there
because
anyone
the kid was
more
supposed to be
new
like
wave than
nerdy.
Pee Wee Herman?
Well, the whole thing is, I just thought that was supposed to be a commentary of like, oh, punk kids think they're so cool, but really the real cool kids are the ones that fight for justice.
They weren't punk though. They were like
but I'm saying like I took that not as like a social commentary and of like trying to be insulting on a scene, but more like commentary in terms of like, oh, the cool kids are really the geeks, and the geeks are really the cool kids.
I had nightmares about the music video playing in his insane asylum room.
He's not
where
in
the
an
guy's
insane
like
asylum.
spring.
He's in a room.
What video is
He's
that?
in a room at NASA, dude. It's not an insane asylum.
Oh yeah, you're right. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Also, there's a scene in that movie where he flies off the handle and gets pissed because NASA is going to keep him for 48 hours.
That's
after
right.
he's time traveled a decade into the future, and he's pissed about 48 hours that he doesn't get to go home.
I love this movie
Can
so
you
much.
imagine the audacity of being like, oh yeah, I time traveled a decade, and now they want to watch me for 2 days.
Where is Phelan? God, I love this movie so much.
Compliance.
I will not fry your brain.
And like there's obvious like piss jokes in there about the kid having a leak, but like when I was a kid it was so much more obvious, and then rewatching it recently I was like, it's not really that obvious. But like if you're a kid, like you hear a piss joke in that. He's got a leak.
Wieners are funny. God, that movie's so good. I remember amazing. My mind, it fucking blew my mind when the ship transformed for the first time.
Oh, dude.
Have you ever been to Disney World?
Because it's like an almond, and then it spins, because they can't actually show the animation. They've got to do it behind the ship. It spins, and then it turns into this like space race car.
Have you ever been to Disney World?
No, I haven't. I looked up pictures, and I know it's like on the back lot or something.
The MGM tour had it.
Did they already...
What happened?
It's not out, but Dunlop's announced it. So.
Dunlop's announced it. The MXR Carbon Copy Mini. Yeah.
I'm all about that.
We're going to get one, apparently. We'll see what happens.
Dope.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. I wanna bring up one specific. I just watched. So I'm watching Enterprise right now for the first time.
Because you've got Faith of the Heart.
I got Faith of the Heart, and you know what? I just watched the goddamn worst piece of shit episode I've ever seen in my life. It's a show called A Night in Sickbay, and do you know what this episode is about?
A night in Sickbay?
No. Well, yeah, one character, the best character on the show, Porthos, the beagle. Captain Archer takes their beagle down to the Cretacean homeworld.
One.
Takes a beagle, a dog, to the Cretacean homeworld and brings it back. And guess what? The beagle's got a lethal infection. The beagle's gonna die. The whole 45 minutes of sheer goddamn terror and anger and anxiety, the dog is going to die. The whole episode, the dog is going to die. And Captain Archer is freaking out. At the end, does the dog die? Here's the thing. The dog doesn't die, thankfully. But it's 45 minutes of
that dog has a contract.
Yeah, that dog did great. But it's the worst episode. The whole episode is you're seeing this cute ass dog acting sick the whole time, and your heart's being rent asunder. And then things just keep getting worse. Oh, it's an infection. Oh, he's got a disease. Oh, is he gonna be okay? Oh, it's too early to tell. And then in the middle of the episode, the doctor. Phlox, he decides that he can save the dog, but the dog needs surgery, and you can't sedate a dog. Apparently, you have to fucking drown a dog.
What?
You have to drown the dog in like abyss liquid. You've got to drown the dog.
Well, if you want the flesh to be tender and fall off the bone,
met with silence. Yeah, so they have to drown the dog to prepare it for surgery, and then they have to transplant a pituitary gland. And the only saving grace for this shit fest of an episode is that Archer is screaming the whole time. They're like, I want to bomb them. I fuck these aliens. I hate them. How could they not know? And then at the end of the episode, the dog pulls through. The surgery was a success, and Archer is holding the beagle, and the beagle has this bandage slapped on its head. It's just a loose bandage, and the dog's like, there's a bandage flapping around. But that's the worst episode I've ever seen. Brandon Braga and I can't remember the other writer's name. Should be ashamed of themselves. And what monsters wrote this episode? Look it up. Season 2, episode 5, A Night in Sickbay. I hate this episode. I watched it again today. Was it as bad? Was it as bad as I thought it was? Well, yes.
I can't decide if I love or hate the storyline in Enterprise with the bug people, because I like that alien design.
I don't know if I've gotten there yet.
But
what's the bug people?
I feel like it was first season.
Yeah,
season.
the I don't remember their name.
Yeah, but anytime you see an alien like that in like a previous like timeline of Star Trek, you're like, where were those guys?
Where were those guys?
TNG. Mm-hmm. I want the bug people around in TNG, you know, and that's like the failing point of making all these prequels is you come up with cool aliens and you can't, like retcon them into,
you don't get the chance to discover more.
You don't get to see them that they've just become part of their federation and they're cool now,
It is cool to see like
oh my gosh, I just remember like the craziest episode of TNG.
Okay,
the one where they all find out that all like humanoid species in the galaxy are related.
Oh yeah, I love that shit.
And then like no one ever talks about it ever again.
That's the entire premise of Deep Space Nine.
Yep. Is it?
Yeah.
See, I don't watch DS9 all that much.
Dude, so that's basically.
Well, don't say things like never.
The entire.
If you don't.
So so the Dominion, right?
Every time I watch DS9, it's about like quarks,
baseball,
like just doing dumb stuff.
Baseball.
That's true. That's true.
You've got to play
Every
baseball.
time I watch,
love it.
If we believe in ourselves, we can beat the Vulcans.
Every time I watch DS9 is Quark going back to Area 51.
That was one episode.
I love that episode so much.
Did you just bring that up because that was the most recent episode of The Greatest Generation?
No, I haven't listened to Greatest
I think
Generation.
Rom might be my favorite character.
Rom is a
pretty
great
good.
character.
It's pretty good.
Moogie. I love that shit. Mainline that into my veins. Give me more.
So the entire Dominion War is orchestrated by the Founders, and the whole thing with the Founders
And the Founders are the guys that made everybody.
They're the ones who made everybody.
All right.
Like,
but it's never really mentioned again in TNG.
Right.
Which is like, should be like, this should change. If TNG was more, had more of a story arc thing going on, episode to episode, it'd be like, well, now we have to like figure out what this means for the entire Federation and everyone in space. Like, how come we haven't figured this out with like modern DNA testing and stuff like that? That, you tweak a few things and you turn a Klingon into a person, you know? Which is how they explain away Klingon stuff from the original series in Enterprise. Did you hit that part yet?
There's a we don't talk about this.
Yeah, because they did Khan level. Yeah. Well, they stole Khan technology, the genetic war stuff, and applied it to Klingons, and it turned them all into people. God. And that's how you get the way Klingons look in the original series. And when they did that, I was like, you really did that. You really went that direction. That's wild.
You just didn't have to address it.
Yeah, you didn't have to just like be like, original series was filmed in the 60s.
My forehead looks like a butt.
Aliens looked different then. We don't have to connect everything.
They doubled down on it by having Klingons in Discovery as like the main villain.
Yeah.
Or not, in Discovery, at least for like the first season. And so now they've got a fourth version of the Klingon.
But in second season of Discovery, they're like, oh, Klingons are growing hair now. And they're looking more and more like Worf.
Well, that's cute.
Because in the first season they were like shaved bald. Like what was the new Abrams movie that had the Klingons in it and they looked totally different? I forget which one that was. But they looked kind of like that, but they have bigger skulls.
Yeah. But their ridges are square.
Their ridges are different.
Was that Into Darkness? That was Into Darkness.
Yeah. But anyways, they've allowed the Klingons in second season of Discovery to start growing hair, and it's that typical like Worf bull sort of thing on a lot of them. Some of them have like dreads and have other things going on and they get wispy or whatever, but you see that Worf bull walking around and you're like, there it is, that's where they're going with this. They're gonna do this. Did we do it? Did we cover all of Star Trek?
Alexander,
I don't know, man.
I am not a merry man. I am not.
You do a really good Worf.
I love
dude.
Worf.
I think
deeply.
I think they should, as much as they would revisit locations in the holodeck from time to time for, like they revisited like the old timey like
I am so
Sherlock
fucking
Holmes
sick
thing.
of Vic Fontaine and his dumb casino.
Oh yeah, Vic Fontaine was rough. Well, Vic Fontaine was because they needed to Guinan that place up.
Remember when the gif of Picard just like mowing people down with a Tommy gun was like a huge gif on the internet? We need to bring that back.
I was not interested in Dick Tracy / I wasn't interested in the Sherlock Holmes holodeck. I wasn't really interested in the mobster holodeck. I wanted more trips to Wild West holodeck.
I wanted to
Fistful of Datas is pretty damn good.
Fistful of
Data,
but again, that's Brent Spiner playing just multiple characters.
They were like, hey Brent, you want to do a whole episode by yourself?
Yeah. Hey Brent, how about we just throw a dress on you at the very end for the
He's
lulls?
the madam at the whorehouse. It's amazing.
Brent, like let's be honest, Brent is probably like the heavy hitter as far as acting goes.
He's incredible. He doesn't get enough credit.
He was a comedian before that, and he just plays Data so well, so straight-faced the whole time. And like you have to be a comedian to understand how to make that work. Like a regular actor would be like, well, I've got to do these inflections and stuff like that. A comedian knows how to play like
his
dry.
Well, it's so
and
physical
straight.
too.
Oh,
like it's a
totally
really
physical.
like physical.
And he makes that funny without it being funny. It's like sincere robot stuff.
He just everything that Data says is basically deadpan, and it's such a talent. Except, ironically, that enough that he was a comedic actor, because that episode where Data tries to learn comedy is still like the most excruciating thing. I says to the guy, I says. Ridiculous.
Okay, thumbs up or thumbs down? Q episodes.
Love them.
Up.
Mostly thumbs up. I would say there are some that kind of fall flat. The one where he's in with Voyager is not.
I haven't
my
gotten there.
favorite.
Did he visit Voyager?
Sure did.
Jeez.
I loved his appearance on Deep Space Nine though, because basically he shows up on Deep Space Nine.
I don't care about a Q.
Yeah, Sisko's just like, who the fuck are you? Get the fuck out of here.
I'm not Jean-Luc. I love the way he talks. Oh my god, I could listen to Avery Brooks' weird ass cadence all day. Jake, it's baseball.
Apparently that was like a college thing. Like I guess he went to, I think, is it Oberlin?
Oh really?
Yeah, and he has got like a freaking, I think, a master's in like performance art, and that's just his thing. What a wild man.
Oh, have you guys heard about What We Left Behind? The Deep Space Nine documentary that's out this weekend.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Tickets are on sale today. Not that we're sponsored or anything, but if you want to kick a little bit of money.
Man, this episode's not going to drop this weekend.
Yeah, no way.
This weekend was April 12th. But that looks really good. And there's like shots of Terry talking about how hard it was. And then Avery Brooks going, "You can't take that from us. You can't have it."
A lot of people.
I love that guy.
There is, I've seen some of it. So there is a software that I think people are trying to do like a high def update to like Final Fantasy 9 or something. Mm-hmm. And the same people are using that software to try to see what it would take to basically how much computing power it would take to do a high def rebuild of Deep Space Nine.
That's so sad that it's not currently possible.
Yeah, they're just, from what I have heard, it's just because they don't think it's profitable.
That's part of it, but the other part is that all the special effects will have to be rebuilt completely. Yeah. And the masters don't exist in the way that they did for TNG. Yeah. Well, whatever.
I don't know anything about this, but it sounds like a real bummer.
It's a real doozy of a bum. I just said that.
What do you think about Q, Ryan? You posed the question.
I feel every time a Q episode starts, I'm kind of like, I'd kind of rather not right now.
That's how I used to feel about Loxana Troy for a long time. I didn't really care for her episodes, but
Troy,
Loxana grows on you as you get older. When you're a kid, you're like, get out of here.
She's so annoying.
But then when you get older, you're like, I relate.
You're like, take me to those mud baths.
Also, well, yeah, that too. She's also like a character who pops up on Deep Space Nine, and then her entire arc gets really depressing.
Majel Barrett also was in the original series.
Yes, well, she's
and
in
was
every
Roddenberry's
series.
wife.
Yeah,
and is the voice of the Enterprise
and the voice of Voyager.
Incredible.
I believe
she's incredible.
She's just the voice. Yeah.
Did she pass away? I thought I heard that she passed away.
I think I want to say she did.
Look it up before I speak ill of the living.
But yeah, I think with the whole thing in Deep Space Nine where it's like she has some kind of like mental illness.
In 2008.
That was a while ago.
I'm late to that party.
It all of a sudden, like all of the previous episodes of
I gave Steve Alexana Troy this action figure.
This sad woman, who's just been fake, like playing a long game of fake it till you make it. Like all of a sudden you're like, dang.
She's amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah, she was Nurse Chapel.
That episode where
she was the original executive officer.
Yeah, I love that. I love that she was number one on the Enterprise for Captain Pike. That was wonderful. That was a nice little nugget. It made me feel real good about that thing I like.
They do a real good job of Captain Pike in Discovery.
I'm really excited to see that. I hope that I can...
Like, we were pulling up screenshots, like, when he first came on, like, wow, they casted him, like,
he's
dead on.
Perfect for that role.
Yeah. One of the things, I know you guys haven't watched it, but a lot of things with Discovery is, like, it takes place before, like, really recently before the original series.
Yeah, I think it's like
And,
20 years or something.
When you're watching it, if you're familiar with the original series, there's a lot of like hints to a lot of stuff. And you're just like, I don't know how this show is going to connect to the original series. And that's kind of what makes it fun, is that you can kind of just be like, who cares if it does? We're having a fun time here. Yeah. And they'll figure out a way to make it connect. And every now and then they'll be like, okay, now this storyline gets released. And now you know that like this character is going to go off to the side and connect to the original series eventually.
So here's my Discovery gripe. Not having seen it, but this is, and also
not enough side boob.
Also, my original series movie gripe. Why can't we decide on a freaking uniform?
Here's my thing. They got advanced, crazy technology. They can replicate like food and stuff like that. Why not clothes? They can't.
Well, they do replicate clothes.
I'm all for it. What you have here is you've got a ship.
What you've got here is a failure to communicate.
You've got a ship. There's somewhere on the ship, there is someone employed. It's their job to be a fashion designer. And like
Garrick on Deep Space Nine was the tailor.
Come up with the look for that ship.
I'm just a modest tailor.
They have room in their utopian.
Or no, simple. It was I'm just a simple tailor.
They have room in their utopian technological society for creatives. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what you're seeing with these suit designs and different uniforms and whatnot. Is there someone who is creative in that world and is taken seriously and people are enthusiastic about it.
But if that was the case, then every ship would have a different uniform.
A lot of them do.
You don't think like standard plans exist? You don't think you can?
Maybe it's.
But that's what I'm saying. So if standard plans exist, why are they changing them so frequently?
Because they can.
Because they can. Because of Hollywood.
I mean, I think that's really why.
Why do you change your underwear every day? I hope you change your underwear every day.
Shit. Yeah, but you just got dunked on, my dude.
I do change my underwear every day, but my underwear are all basically the same design.
I just want to say, real quick. I just want to say that Garrick and Bashir should have been Trek's first gay couple. They are fantastic together. I need a whole series of them.
Not O'Brien and Bashir?
What?
Not O'Brien and Bashir?
No, I mean they were best buds. They were river buddies, but I don't know. I just think Garrick was
that
a way
on
better
the river. So here's something I've wanted to complain about. That's just random. That's what we're doing. Random complaints about Trek in this episode. The beds in TNG look awful.
No, the beds in all of it look awful.
I would not want to sleep on that rock
they're just stone tables
bed with like the thinnest foil sheet. Give me something with some weight.
I don't know. I bet that space blanket is warm as hell. Oh, give me that.
I'm just saying
blanket.
It better be heavy because it doesn't look heavy. It could
be heavy.
It doesn't need to be. It's a thermally reflective material.
But I want to feel some weight on me. You know.
Ryan's
upset.
got that PTSD. Needs that weight.
I would
sleep.
From
what exactly?
I would sleep underneath like the dentist's lead X-ray blanket thing. That would be good.
Yeah,
sleep
you
for
can
me.
buy those.
I know.
You can buy a 25-pound blanket.
But I like to feel a little bit of weight on me.
Warm
and those
and protected.
Next generation beds that you see Picard laying down and pulling up that foil sheet just look really unpleasant to me.
Man, that is a man who knows how to spend his downtime.
And then the weird like round pillow, I just can't get behind it.
Oh, so speaking of Picard and blankets, the episode that I just can't, it seems like it's on the top of like a lot of people's lists, and I think they do call back to it at the end of the show, is the one where he gets alien probed for like 5 seconds and lives 10
the inner light.
Yeah.
That's an amazing episode.
I feel like that's one where I'm just kind of like at the end of it, I just feel like, what the hell did I just watch?
But that's like a solid creature episode. It's like a solid like sci-fi exploration of a concept episode.
But I think they do revisit that episode in All Good Things.
There's also a sort of revisiting of it in the episode where Picard falls in love with science officer. I don't remember what that episode was
maybe
called.
that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, where they play in one of the nacelles. Is it a nacelle or is it a Jeffries tube? Forget. But they she plays piano. She rolls out her little like flat piano and they play, and then the music stops.
Yeah, I'm trying to
because there's Because they're boning down.
Whoa. In space, under that thin sheet? No, thank you.
In space, no one can hear you moan.
Wow.
What?
Everyone can hear you in that Jeffries tube. Bubbler.
The worst
Picard
part.
got a lot of action.
Vosh? Oh my god. Vosh is like one of my big crushes from that show. Oh, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
And smart.
But it's like he didn't get action the way like Riker got action. But Picard
Nobody got action the way that Riker got action.
But like Picard's action meant more. Like there was more weight to it.
You felt like he earned it. Is that what you're saying?
It felt like
he was an attentive lover. I'll speculate that Picard really cares about
what I'm
those.
hearing right
it
now
wasn't
is
like when Riker gets action, it's just Riker getting his dick wet.
Right.
When
lessons it's called.
Riker goes
When
first.
Picard gets action, it's like everyone involved is benefiting from this.
So when I got to the end of Deep Space Nine, the finale of Deep Space Nine is one of my least favorite episodes.
Which one?
The series finale. I hated it.
Oh.
I had liked the first half of it.
It
just
wraps
goes,
shit up
it goes
way too
so,
quick.
It gets so camp.
They wrap up the whole emissary line like they just fall into fire, and then he's not there for the birth of his baby. Essentially, like that's weird. Oh, I will say I'm so glad that the Orville is taking advantage of what's the actor's name? What's her name?
Penny Gerald Johnson.
Yeah. I am so glad that the Orville is taking advantage of her because
Who
they
is she?
didn't.
She's
Cisco's girlfriend
second
and then
wife.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a doctor.
Yeah, she's the doctor.
Yeah,
in the
she's
other.
She's
great.
a doctor on
She's
Orville.
amazing.
She was
Yeah.
Cassidy Yates.
Yes.
I didn't like the cast change with the new security officer on Orville.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to that.
She just doesn't have any charisma.
She's a little tough.
But it's not
She's
a
got big shoes to
toughness
fill.
thing. And I feel like it was just so... It's such a Seth MacFarlane thing to do. Like, oh, just get a new girl, same alien. Just
Yeah,
like,
it
whatever.
was disappointing that they went for the same race.
Yeah.
But then like there was the whole with the original woman, there was a whole sort of storyline about how she's different from everybody else on her planet because she wants to be part of the military, and then they just happen to find someone else.
Oh, we found
immediately.
someone who's just cool with the military. No problem. Yeah.
Hey, she's got the same ears. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Oh, we have to keep the same prosthetic. It fits her just fine. Same build. No problem.
Oh, look, the uniform fits. That's great. We got like 5 of these things.
When I used to listen to The Greatest Generation more often, I haven't listened in a while. A big thing that they always went back and forth with was who got front zip uniforms and who got back zip uniforms, and like what that meant for the actor and their status on
That's
the show.
amazing.
Yeah, because I think is it back zips are all fitted,
something like that,
and like all the front zip uniforms were like leftovers from like the first and second season. And so if you were approximately the size of Jonathan Frakes, you would be fitted into like his first season uniform.
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't fit exactly right, but then
Apparently
all of the
all
main
that's-
cast had like back zips that were like tailored to their bodies.
Apparently, a lot of that stuff was like perpetually dirty too. Just
Oh yeah,
like-
it smelled.
Well, yeah,
horrible.
because again, you're wearing it. If you're in Yar's uniform, she's wearing that thing for 14 hours a day.
yeah, and she got sucked up by that tar monster thing, and it's like they never got it all the way clean.
Oh, that was such a throwaway death too.
That sucks
like-
that they wrote
They
her
actually
off that way.
brought. So from what I understand,
But
they
I
brought
gotta
her
admit,
back for
like-
yesterday's Enterprise specifically because so many people complained about how dumb her death was.
Yesterday's Enterprise is one of my top 5, I think.
Yeah.
I
I
That's a really good
remember
one.
that tar monster vividly, and it's like a key episode in my mind. Like I know that's a dumb way for her to die, but like
Oh no, the
I kind of
monster
enjoyed that episode
because the monster was like
legitimately kind of
such
scary.
you're in this sci-fi universe that is at least from a human perspective, it's like a semi-utopian exploration.
Yep.
Who they come on this planet where you have this monster who's just exists
Doesn't give a
to
fuck.
torture.
Look how easy I can
whoever
kill
comes
you.
down.
Yeah.
Like oh, you came down next to my tar pit. Guess I'm gonna kill you now.
Yeah.
I do this with everything that comes by the tar pit.
Why are you doing this? Because I can.
I love
Duh.
what I love about that episode is at the end when they're at the Yar funeral and they've got the hologram talking and she turns to Data and goes, Data, and then essentially says like, "We got intimate and it was awesome. Thanks, bro." And it's not. It's so weird.
She's like, nice.
And then that little Tasha Yar hologram lives on Data's desk for the rest of the series, and sometimes he just turns it on and he's just looking at her and he's like, yeah. You ever think he turns that on when Geordi comes to hang out and he's like, hey,
check it out, Geordi.
Yeah, well, there's a question I saw once that was, why does Data have medals? Like when he's collecting all of his belongings, when he's like being sent off to science school to be studied, it's like, why does like there's like weird things where it's like, why does this character have sentimentality develop?
He's like a little kid playing dress up.
Yeah, it's like he's got these medals.
Well, he's trying. He wants to be human. He wants to experience what it is to be human. So if there's something that like there's a recorded like reference of it having significance to humans, he's going to be into it.
That
like I should keep this around. You know,
that's the malfunctioning Data thing that we need. Is basically there needed to be an episode that would be the TNG equivalent to Age of Ultron.
Well, we sort of had that with Lore, though. When Lore usurps the
but I mean like
the
not
Borg
just
colony.
like, I mean like full on like broken but still overpowering Data. Like Data with one arm, but his left arm, which is actually the weaker of his two arms,
Data
is still thrashing everybody.
The most overpowered character in that show. Like Data is just like the weapon of that ship.
I love how every time Data gets to open a door that won't open, Worf has this fucking frowny face, like, I could have done that if you had asked. But no.
Like Data has.
You know about the Worf trope?
What do you mean by that?
Like this is an all TV thing, but it's especially in TNG. Anytime they need to establish that they're fighting against a physically superior race, Worf is the first person to get thrown across the room, because that's the thing in like all TV shows is it's like if you need to establish that you need to have a tactical approach on something, the superior evil whatever character thrashes whoever's considered the most badass good character. But in TNG, it's like every other episode is Worf getting thrown across the room.
You know what's fucked up about Worf is that no one ever listens to him. A ship comes out of nowhere and decloaks, and he's like, I recommend we raise shields. And Picard's
Drop
like,
shields.
Let's just see what they want first before we start jumping to conclusions, Worf.
Divert power to anti-shields.
And then like 15 seconds later, Geordi's screaming from the engineering, we got a core breach, we gotta get out of here. And Worf is just like, you should have listened. I was right.
But sometimes Worf kind of flies off the handle and it's like so quick to be just like,
well, that's
kill everyone.
I will remove their spine.
That's the whole episode with which I watched this clip. Every once in a while it just pops up, and I don't on my YouTube feed the clip where the one where Picard is. It's the Four Lights episode, I think.
Four lights.
And so Data's in command of the Enterprise, and he's like, and so they're trying to figure out a way to. Oh no, it's not. Is it that one?
What's the one where
is that Gully Vec?
Where there's like
It is Gully Vec.
4 people in a tube and they eat cat food out of the middle of the room.
Oh yeah, maybe that's the one I'm.
Yeah,
it's whatever. It's whatever episode it is where Data is in charge of the Enterprise and Worf is second in command, and they're like trying to formulate a plan. And Data's finally like, "All right, this is the plan." And
I know exactly where you're going.
And Worf is like, "It's about damn time." And Data's like walking back to his chair, and he's like,
"Worf,
Mr. Worf, I'd like to see you in my room or whatever."
I have a video of this because it's the greatest fucking shit I've ever seen.
You know, he does this whole thing, and at the end of it, Data's like, "I hope this has not ruined our friendship."
Mr. Worf, I am sorry if I've ended our friendship. Sir, it is I who has jeopardized our friendship, not you. If you will overlook this incident, I would like to continue to consider you my friend. Like that as well. Thank you, sir.
It's like they're in fucking elementary school. It's so good. It is I who has ruined our friendship. If you will overlook this incident, I would like to continue to be your friend.
Oh my gosh.
God, it's the sweetest, most like pure moment in the whole show. Oh.
As far as data concerns, a friendship is just like a point on a spreadsheet of connections that he has.
You know what's great is that he's like, I have become accustomed to your sensory input patterns, but like an episode later, he's like, I will outlast you. Like he's no big deal. I'm eternal.
Yeah.
Funny how you age and deteriorate.
That's now that you mentioned that, so we can do the post Voyager Nog series, or we can just do the 1,000 years in the future. You know,
I would love more
Grand Admiral Data.
But fucking thanks to Nemesis,
Supreme Overlord
Nemesis,
Data.
we don't have Data anymore.
Oh,
we
yeah.
have B4,
Yeah.
who's an idiot, who's like, have you ever heard of music? And credits.
I barely remember Nemesis.
I don't even know if
Tom
I've
Hardy.
seen Nemesis.
Tom Hardy was. I don't like how they did
But
young
he
Picard
was-
on that because he had hair in the series and they shaved
Yeah.
Tom Hardy's head to make him look like a young Picard.
Why couldn't they
Because
just...
we're idiots. The audience is so stupid that we can't fathom that Picard had hair at some point in his life.
The bigger thing is like, I know what year did Nemesis was like.
He's a clone. It's hard to
2002
do
or something?
hair.
Why couldn't they have just like, I don't know, thrown a wig on Patrick Stewart and be like, dude, you're young Picard. Let's just do this.
Like, I would love to see hello fellow students Picard. Fucking God. Just wearing a baggy hoodie. What's up, fellow Starfleet Academy graduates?
I mean, I just think it's that simple. Like, young Picard should have just been Patrick Stewart.
Fucking Tapestry is fantastic. That's a great
Which
episode.
one is that?
That's the one Picard gets shot.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
heart,
yeah.
And Q takes him. That's a great Q
That's
episode.
a really good Q episode. It's Science Officer Picard.
Vaguely remembering it.
Lieutenant junior grade Picard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck it. I would
basic-
like a whole series
So
of
basically,
that Picard.
the premise is that Picard has to have this like heart surgery every 10 years because when he was in the academy, he got stabbed in the chest.
He got run through by a Nausicaan over,
And
There was some
over
sort
a
of
bar
was
fight.
there like some sort of time play trying to erase that? or
No,
something
so
like that?
yeah, so basically he makes a deal with Q, and I don't remember why. Do you remember why? Like, but
No, Q shows up at the beginning of the episode and tells him that he's dead and this is the afterlife and I'm going to show you how your life could have been different. Is the conceit of it, and that the idea that all the choices that he makes in when he goes back to
Right.
his youth will stand, and he could have his real heart back again. Oh, but that means the problem is that if he gets his real heart again, then he never gets stabbed through by a Nausicaan, which kind of makes Picard who he is, fearless. And,
so that's basically Picard is that was like Picard standing up for himself, and if he never stands up for himself, then
becomes the
he just
shittiest
becomes
Starfleet.
he's like what was it? He's like an astral geographer or
Yeah.
some crap.
And he does the most meat. Like he's below
Does
Barclay.
he become like a Walmart greeter of Starfleet or something
Exactly.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
He's that old and
No,
in an aqua uniform.
Barclay actually accomplishes things sometimes.
that? Well, Barclay made
He's
that
great.
crazy like computer he was part of, right?
Yes. God. But that episode is so good. Just
Lieutenant
to see
Junior
Picard,
Grade Picard.
Yes.
And the thing is he's also like, he's the 60-year-old ensign where you're like, wait, did you just get here or have you been
Have
an
you been
ensign
here the whole
for
time?
60 years? And like he goes to like Riker to be like,
Riker
He
and
had a
Troy.
hey, can I
he
get a
had
promotion?
A career
And he's like,
change late in life, guys. He decided Starfleet was for
He
for
goes
him.
and he says, I want you to be honest with me. How's my performance? And they're like, not so great. Do you think I could ever be in command? And they're like, no.
Well, it's okay. This is a cashless utopia. You're going to be taken care of. Don't worry.
And apparently he like fucks up all of his reports, and Geordi keeps messaging on the con system going like, I'm still waiting for that pad. Sorry.
He's probably like the most brilliant person in the whole thing because he's like, there's no pay in this. I can do whatever I want. I don't have to turn
No, he's none of those things.
I don't have to turn in my stuff in time. I'll just hang out.
It's like junior grade Lieutenant Picard has never read a book, is what it feels like in that episode.
Right.
He doesn't know how anything works.
It's like he just learned the bare minimum to stay in Starfleet and not get kicked out.
He's the kind of guy who he just stands in the turbo lift until someone else comes in because he doesn't know how to activate it himself.
That would be me.
He just walks in and goes.
I would stand outside the turbo lift and I'd be like, last time I tried to do this, I ended up on the bridge and it was super embarrassing and I don't know what I did wrong.
I think it's more like he's just on there. He's just on there and he's so like, he's so spineless. He's like I'm not really sure where I need to go. I'll just go wherever somebody takes me.
See, that's the kind of humor that I was expecting to see more of, like on the Orville, and they do some elevator humor, but like the turbo lift,
the elevator music.
The turbo lift comes up and the door opens and the person like walks out and they're just like, no, wrong floor.
Right.
Has to go back. They're like, is this? Man. They all kind of like this. No, I think this is the wrong floor.
Yeah. I think All Good Things was the perfect ending.
Yeah.
To the Next Generation.
That's Worf when he gets mad.
Oh, right.
Remember when Worf gets mad?
Yeah. We should probably wrap this up, guys. This is an hour and a half of us talking Trek.
Let's go until 30.
Oh my god.
Come on.
4 minutes to go.
You're not really a Trek. Holy shit, it's 1:02.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Is there anything else we want to talk about?
I don't know. I think we covered it all.
This was really just the Next Generation and a little bit of other Star Trek.
A little bit.
We did a lot of
Enterprise. About Enterprise. I talked about that damn Beagle episode that
we talked about Voyager
cave in
for
and never
a while.
Be seen again.
We didn't talk about original series as much as I would have liked, guys.
What do you want to talk about original series? Right?
I grew up on original series, but I
feel like original series is the most exciting.
Nazi Planet is the best.
I hate all the like Earth culture planets.
Every time I see that damn 1920s set, I'm like, this ain't my episode.
They did it on Discovery. They found an Earth colony planet.
Oh, God.
But they made sense and not be corny, and it fits with the storyline.
In TNG, they did the Space Irish.
But it's like, no.
I love that episode, too.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, she never seen a woman before. Where's the girl to wash her feet?
The haunted sex lamp.
Sub Rosa.
Yeah.
That is, where
talk about problems.
Where Melody fucks a ghost.
We watched. I grew up on the Next Generation,
episode, and it feels like Beverly wrote it for herself.
Yeah, I grew up on so the issue with that is, I think that's another Rick Berman written episode where he was like, we need sexier Gates McFadden. Go lay on that couch and like go masturbate until you have an orgasm, and we'll just figure out how to make it work.
That.
I tried
what do you
to
think about ghosts.
I tried to describe that episode to my dad, and he's like, "You're just making stuff up."
I wonder how like recently that episode came out, after the movie or before the movie Ghost.
I think it was after. That's like a season 6 or season 7.
Wow.
It's like, you know what people really like right now? They really love boning down with ghosts. Let's make an episode where
they should have had Guinan in that episode.
You also had Ghostbusters going on, where Dan Aykroyd gets a BJ from a ghost.
That was before Star Trek even ran.
Ghost sex was hot.
Ghost sex was all the rage.
Yeah, everyone wanted to get that ghost sex.
Except
all right, so anyway,
it didn't happen in Ghost Dad, did it?
Probably. How'd you get all those ghost kids? I haven't seen that movie in a very long time.
In Ghost Dad, he's got to use some Ghost Rufinol.
There we go.
Is that too dark?
Oh, we just got Cosby'd. All right, bye everybody.
Oh my God.